Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Welcome to my regular monthly video, everything in bloom on the 8th, except for it's the 9th. Conflict of interest yesterday on the 8th, Sunday morning chat, done on Sundays, or everything in bloom on the 8th. Well, it would be a bit daft to do a Sunday morning chat on Monday, wouldn't it? So I decided to move the everything in bloom. There aren't too many videos in one day. Anyway, I'm going to have trouble filming this. It's a dull day, it's raining on and off. I was hoping to get some brighter light as the day went on, but I don't think I'm going to get it, so I just as well get on and film it. I'll do pop-ups for the names of the blooms, because they're not readily going to come to mind, probably. And now we don't start in the grow room, we start out here with our house-grown orchids. I've had to put the light on to even see them. It's so dull today. That could be a problem down the line, certainly for the this Oncidium. But we'll start over here with the two store-bought Phalaenopsis that were part of the series I did, that seemed to go down well, quite popular. I'll try not to bash the table around and wobble them. So beautiful little delicate spots on this one, absolutely love it. And this genuinely was Pretty Blooms Must Have out of the selection that were there on the day. Along with this one over here. Again, I love the colours, I love the patterning, that's why it was chosen. All the blooms are open on both of these now, and obviously buds were still to open when they were got, so I should get a good idea of how long they last on these particular plants. So that's those two. We've got our, I've forgotten the name straight away. I'm doing pop-ups, it doesn't matter. But we've got this one that was the representative of the Oncidium Alliance. It was actually bought at the Welsh Festival to do a sort of mini-series on Oncidium types in the home. And alongside that is this delicate little one here, which I really do adore. This is a sort of mass bloomer, not got for that reason. Again, out of the selection that were there, I just sort of looked out, Pretty Blooms, we'll have those and see what we can do with them. And I genuinely did not look the plants over before making the purchase. I looked at the bloom spikes, and in this case the buds to come, but you know, they were picked along the same lines as the Phalaenopsis by looking at the blooms, not the quality of the plant. I happened to hit lucky on these two and actually get two reasonable plants. Same with the Phalaenopsis, actually, lucky. I don't have an eye for looking at a bloom and detecting that it's a good plant underneath. I've still got to physically look at the plant, so just put it down to luck. Sometimes you're lucky and you pick up a plant and it's brilliant. And other times you absolutely must have it because of the blooms, and you look at the plant and you think, God, that really is in a state, but you get it anyway, if you see what I mean. So that's the indoor ones done. And we go out in the grow room where all the rest are. I'm not getting plants down, as I say. I've got dull light anyway. My orange Vanda up here is going, so that's I would suggest that's gone, actually. I don't see a flower that's still in a perfect state on there, so that one shouldn't even be in this one. However, the lovely large purple Vanda has dropped one bloom or two blooms so far, and I can see another one going, but these opened over quite a long period of time. So this spike is still going to be around for some time. I'd say at least another couple of weeks before it actually goes. Hanging in there well. And as Vandas go, to me, this is what epitomises a Vanda. It's the tessellations, the size of the blooms. They're not all large, but this one is. And that's what did it for me when I got that one. Right, coming down here, we've got this one, which we had a lot of trouble working out what the hell it was because of muddled up tags, but I think we've got it got it sorted now. I don't know how much longer these are going to last, but given that the first one's on its way out, I don't think it's going to be around much longer. But greatly appreciated while it's around. Lovely patterning, lovely sort of frilly edge to the lip, and all the blooms are different, as is the case with these sort of ones, with the spotting in the purple on the lip, nicely surrounded by white. It's a trait you often find on certain orchid types. Shelob Tolkien is a classic. You know, the spots are surrounded by a different colour to the rest of the lip. It's like a highlight, an accent, or whatever you want to call it. My prismatocarpa spike, which is not very good, and I don't know how long they're going to last. However, the fragrance is quite nice. It's still got some buds to open, but I've noticed there's browning on these buds. This just didn't develop a good spike. It is its first time blooming, so I'm just going to put it down to that. But nonetheless, I've at least got it to bloom, whereas it hadn't done for some time. It's already chucking up its new growth, so that one will push on. Down here, my Phalaenopsis Sweet Memory is virtually gone, this spike now. It's just one flower hanging in there showing its patterning and colours, but the spike itself does have a branch and may extend, and it's up to something at the base of the plant, and it looks to me like it's growing a new plant out of the stem, which I'm quite happy for it to do. If it chooses to do that, I shall let it get on with it. But what I will do down the line is take those very woody sheaths off. These are very, very hard, these sheaths at the base of the plant, and if that little plantlet's going to produce some roots, they'll never get out of there. So I need to just strip those bits back gently so that the base of the plant can get some roots out if it chooses to. The Miltonia Sunset, I've got some blooms still looking good, and I've got others that have got markings on them. Now those markings are from the aphids that got on it. The aphids are gone, but where they've damaged the buds, I've got that sooty mould starting to grow on the blooms. So a bit annoying though it is, the blooms will come again on future spikes. So having them short-lived by probably taking them off, although quite honestly, the spike's going to come off eventually anyway, I just as well leave them. But this spike over here got away with it because it was sticking out the other side and didn't actually get the aphids. So that's okay. One spike's already gone. We had three. So that's that one. Coming round here, seeds of green, seeds of green, seeds of green, until we get to the Miltonia, which is looking nice. I think we had a look at this yesterday, but we'll have another look as it's the Everything in Bloom video. Very attractive Miltonia, lovely deep colour on the lip, and I had a chat with some people in the comments section about what we can call the colour of the petals and sepals, and burnished gold came up. I like that, burnished gold. It's a mix, sort of halfway between a yellowy colour and a bronzy colour. Burnished gold, I like that. I'm not very good at describing colours. I'm even more useless at describing fragrances. And then we've got our Laelia Broughtonia cross, bought for the Cattleya series, to be mounted as soon as I can, and maybe the subject of a Rogers hybrid. Don't cross your fingers, hold your breath or anything on that. It is a remote idea, and it may never happen, but if I can get that organised, I'll give it a go, especially now I have somebody that's willing to take on the seed pod should I produce one. Good suggestion. I was talking in the Sunday video about various things to do with trying to hybridise orchids, and one suggestion for an ideal candidate to cross with this one is Laelia Anceps, providing they're compatible, which I don't see why they shouldn't be. But Laelia Anceps has got all the traits to push into this one. Larger blooms and a good colour. So that may be a candidate. We shall see. My one Tulumnia that's in bloom is nearly finished now. This has been in bloom for months and months and months. On the branches produced by what was 2 spikes, it's now down to 1. So it's not going to be with us much longer, unfortunately. And then it could do with a bit of a rest and get its new growths going, which it has plenty of. But it needs to put its energy into those. So that's nearly finished now. Being a species, blooms are smaller than many other Tolumnias, but nonetheless there's a good depth of colour there with that yellow. Very nice blooms. Coming round here, my Frosty Dawn, single bloom on an old cane, is hanging in there. Again, it's been open quite a while. A lot of sturdiness and structure to this. You know, it's not papery in any shape. I'm trying to sort of bend the lip and it won't bend under my pressure. Very, very sturdy structure and gorgeous colour in the centre of the lip. Lovely bloom, that one. Plant itself has a new growth that is pushing on. I won't say it's pushing on at a rate of knots. Old leaves are going, in some cases gone, with a bit of help. And then we come round to this. This is an infundibulum crossed with lowii, and this in fact was produced by the friend who will do the Laelia cross. Yeah, so this is one of his actual seedlings grown on from a cross done by himself. So he can do it. There's no messing about. He produces some good stuff. He does specialise in Paphiopedilums, and he often grows species from seed to increase stock and to sell, you know. But he had a go at this one, produced some nice plants, one of which I bought, and it's flowered before, it's at it again. Another bud to open yet. These last 2 or 3 months as well, so they'll be around for a while. What else have we got? I got my 2 other little Phalaenopsis that are in flower. This plant is not doing at all well, although it has grown some roots recently. Plant-wise, we do have some new roots, but plant-wise it's in a hell of a mess. It lost its growing point and produced 2 tiny little leaves that, on reflection, are not growing properly at all. And then it produced a plant out the side that failed to grow, but it has got a little spike on it. These do not reflect the true colour that these blooms should be by any means. The yellow base is about right, but the spotting on it should be much more pronounced. In its proper form, the blooms are gorgeous, but there's something up with that plant at the moment. It's just not growing properly. And then I've got another little mini Phalaenopsis. Can't remember whether I've got a name for this one. Delicate, very pretty little blooms. First one's just come off in meander on her. And the spike looks like it's going to extend as well. It's another bud to open yet. But this blooms quite regularly. I think last time the spike was going to extend and I took it off to give the plant a chance. But one thing that's going to need to be sorted out at some point, in and around the grow room, this occurs on various plants, I will say. And if you look here, even on this latest new leaf, there's patches. My initial analysis is that because I was using the stock solution with the other MSU fertilizer that I had, because I had to, because of the way it was made, if there was some bonding going on with some of the elements, then my plants for some period of time have not been getting all the nutrients they should get. Yeah? And this may well be a long-term result that should now be totally resolved, because I've now started using the new MSU fertilizer that gets mixed up fresh every time. So it's a matter now of, over quite a long period of time, to see if things that grow new leaves from now on stay green and don't get this patchy effect. But it will take a while. We're also going into the you know, the end of the growing season soon, so might not be so many new leaves around to even check it. But I'm keeping my eye on it because that's my only theory at the moment. And it's on some orchids, not on all of them, but it's around, you know. I could pick half a dozen relatively quickly and show the effect. So we'll keep our eye on that. That's to do with growth and feeding, I suspect. Can't guarantee it, but that's my theory, what I have. This one is Dendrobium Phalaenopsis type, Thai Angel. And I wasn't expecting these two spikes at all. The growth in question actually bloomed back in the winter. Now they do rebloom from lower down, apart from the initial spike, which usually comes straight out between the top two leaves. So I wasn't expecting these two spikes, and quite honestly, this spike here is better than the last one, and it produced another one alongside it. So this plant seems to be growing reasonably well now. The Phalaenopsis type dendrobiums don't normally do very well for me. But I've only got two. I've got this one, which I like a lot, and I've got a white one. This one's actually been split into two plants. Although I've got three plants, there's only two types. Is my little Cattleya. And if I could get a Cattleya with those colours, with blooms 3 times the size, boy would I have a winner. Colours on this are fantastic. It reminds me a little bit of the Iwanagara apple blossom, some of the clones to do with that one, but blooms are a lot smaller and I can't detect any fragrance. Nonetheless, beautiful little blooms. And next to it is our other Cattleya that we got for the Cattleya series, and several people have suggested that I ought to try growing this one in the house. I'm thinking on it. There is only one place where I would have enough light for this to grow that's not a bedroom. I'm not prepared to have plants up in a bedroom that can just get forgot. You know, it's not going to happen. Plus, the windows in the bedrooms have got radiators underneath them. So what do? Dry the air right out and dry the plant off with the radiator as we go into winter, or turn the radiator off and have a cold room. So neither will work. So the only place this can go is on the kitchen windowsill. And at the moment, for part of the day, that's in full sun. And at this time of year, that sun's too strong. It'll burn the leaves. So although I'm thinking of it, it may not happen. But I love these blooms, and the fragrance on this is quite powerful. So that's good. What else have we got then? Up here we've got the Kuniko. Dendrobium Kuniko, which is a Victoria Regina cross, and this is a bit of a colour changer, and luckily I've got some old blooms that have turned their back on us round here, so that's the colour it fades to. Very delicate lilac sort of colour, and the veining is retained, so that's as they age, and this is what they look like when they just open, a much deeper colour. And because the colour of the petals, sepals and lips is deeper, the veining is not so obvious. It is there, but it's far more obvious as the blooms fade. The veining becomes more prominent. And this just keeps chucking out buds. It just won't stop. These older canes I thought were long since finished. On deciduous dendrobiums, you usually get a flush of buds at its time. You know, a lot of them are sort of late winter, early spring, or into spring. Some of them are summer, some are autumn, but they tend to have a time when they bloom. And when those old canes have bloomed, that's normally it. They don't keep on doing it, but this one does. I like it. Good stuff. And then where are we now? I'll get this one down. I don't know whether I can hold it still or not, because it's quite a small bloom. But again, very long period the blooms last. And this is the it's a Dendrobium Cuthbertsonii cross, and these last ages and ages, and I have a feeling we might get quite a few more soon. Looking at the number of new growths that have pushed up at the top of the plant, that are still opening leaves, so they're still growing. They won't produce their bud till they finish growing, because the bud comes straight out the top. But the bud that's been open the longest there is starting to fade. It's getting some dark markings on the ends of the petals, sepals there. This one hasn't been open so long, but this one didn't open properly. It's slightly distorted, but you know, the plant was new then, recently mounted. It didn't have its full set of roots or strength at that point. It's grown a lot of roots now. It's got a good root system under it, and it's pushing a lot of new growth. So I think we might get, you know, possibly even a mass blooming on that down the line. Most of those growths look about the same stage, same cane length, same number of leaves, and still growing. Who knows? We might get 4 or 5 blooms at once. That will be good. Very good, in fact. And last but not least, I think, just have a quick scan round. Yep, last but not least for today is Dendrobium Hibiki. And for me, bloom-wise, this is a star performer. It was in bloom most of last summer into the autumn, and a lot of them. It's done it again this year, but much earlier in the year it started. It's got a lot of new growths on it, but the plant itself's got a problem. Not on the old part of the plant, only on the new part. And it keeps getting horrible markings and pitting on the latest leaves of a new growth as the new growth matures. So they grow okay for a while, and then something seems to go wrong with the leaves. I've cut all of those dodgy leaves off, so there are none left. But that doesn't mean to say they're not going to come back. And that's the largest new growth at the moment, and the leaf on the end of that looks okay. But you know, there's a little worry with the plant. Not a big worry. I'm not losing sleep or anything. But yeah, it's looking good. It just seems to do well. So that's the Everything in Bloom on the 8th on the 9th video. That's what's out at the moment. We do have more things to come down the line, and obviously these will eventually be non-blooming plants and be replaced by others. Most of what's coming down the line, a couple of Oncidium types, but it's mainly going to be the Cattleya types that are going to come into their own soon as we head into autumn. Yeah, and I'm also hoping, just hoping, that some of my Paphiopedilums may decide to grace us with a bloom. Mine are all single bloom paths, no multifloral types. And who knows, maybe some of the Masdevallias or Draculas may actually decide to do something now the temperatures are dropping down. Night temperatures, cooler, you know, it does them the world of good. It's like, you know, when you're out in a foreign country on holiday and you're trying to get from the bus, spring, through the hot air, summer, into the air-conditioned hotel, autumn. So that's how the poor old Masdevallias and Draculas feel in this place. You know, at the moment they're still heading for the hotel where the air conditioning is, but yeah, they'll get there, and then hopefully in those better temperatures with the humidity they'll be happier, and maybe we'll get some blooms. We shall see. All these are just you know, hopes more than anything. The next good thing that's going to open that possibly quite a few people wouldn't have is the Orangus. Buds are starting to swell now. As soon as they start to lose their green and take on a more whitish tinge, they're going to open soon. But they've still got a little while to go. They're still pushing on. Got 4 nice spikes to look forward to there. So that's it for today, and sorry it's a day late for those who specifically came in on the 8th just to see this type of video, but it is one I do monthly. The chances of the 8th also being on a Sunday again are rather slim, and I doubt if there'll ever be a show on the 8th, you know, so that's probably just a one-off. Chances of it happening again are very slim. But if it does, the Sunday morning chat would take the priority if I'm still doing that every week. Don't see any reason why not. but seems to go down okay. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.